Hey everyone, what's going on? My name is Stephanie Graham. I'm an artist and filmmaker, and I'm also an extremely curious person. Some will go as far as to say that I am nosy as fuck. The nerve. I started this podcast because I wanted to interview people. I'm not just talking to anyone either. I'm talking to people who are in the thick of what they do. I want to know how they live their life and how they get things done so that I can apply some of their savvy to my own life. I'm sharing this with you so that you too can do the same. We can do it together. We all got to start somewhere, and if you're not looking for practical info, stick around anyway because my guests are fascinating and it's my goal to get to the bottom of their I mean, aren't we all just a little bit curious of what it's like to live someone else's life? And if we do it the same? There are also times when I will feel called to catch up with you one-on-one and let you know about what's going on with me, either in life or with my art practice. You didn't think I'd get the dirt on all these cool people and not let you know what's going on with me, did you? I mean, I'm a Libra. We believe in balance. Listen, I am a big believer that even though we are all different, we can still find ways to relate to each other. It's time to get down to business, so welcome to the Nosey AF podcast. Hello and welcome, my dear friend, to the season 4, episode 34 of my cute little podcast project I have here. Just in case you are new, my name is Stephanie Graham. I'm an artist, filmmaker, and I live in Chicago. And on this podcast, we talk to wonderful artists, activists, and everyday people about what they do, why they do it, and what all they have going on. And actually, as I am introducing myself to you, I also feel like my intro says all of this anyway. So my bad for repeating myself, but hey, I'm so happy that you are here. I have some fun news. As I am recording this, I am in Canada and I am sitting in my studio, Studio H, because I am a resident at the Pouch Cove Foundation. And the Pouch Cove Foundation is a residency program by James Baird of the James Baird Gallery. And I've been here for the past month. This is my first residency away from home, and it's come at a perfect time for 2 reasons. One, because art residencies is one of those things that I've wanted to add to my art resume. And 2, my TV gig ended up wrapping early, so that was a good thing. Like, I had time to do this. And number 3, y'all, the writer's strike is going on. So nothing is filming in Chicago right now or anywhere for that matter. And so this was just, it all lined up for me to be here. So I'm really happy about that. And if you didn't know that, my 9 to 5 is working in film and television. So I don't know. I'm super proud of the writers for standing their ground. I really, really want them to get what they deserve. If I'm being honest, I am a union member, and I wish like my union would have went on strike when we went on strike. We actually ended up settling before a strike had to happen. So that was good. But I just feel like it's so beautiful seeing everybody stand up and the writers having everyone's support. So it's been really awesome to see. But yeah, so, and you know what? It's just so wild, like this writer's strike. I can't believe it's come to this. But to be honest, y'all, the film industry needs to just like start over, start from the beginning. It's just these movies and shows make so much. And it's like, wow, when crew members say, hey, can we have like 2 pennies? Like the industry is just like these executives, these corporations are just like, no, you don't get 2 pennies. And it's like, dang. So I don't like it. It's not right. And yeah, so here at the Nosey AF podcast, we are in total support of the writers. And I truly pray that they get all that they want and quite frankly deserve. But back to Pouch Cove where I am because it is so picturesque. I'm here in Newfoundland with like 8 other artists. I'm sort of losing count because I feel like I see everybody all the time, but I feel like there's about 8 of us. Sherry Rush, who is an artist, she's like a large scale abstract painter. She invited me here. She curated three of the artists, and then another artist, Elaine. She curated some artists, and so we are all up here. But I'll talk to them. We'll talk to them. We'll talk about all of that throughout the season of the podcast. And if you are listening to me say all this stuff and you're like, what is an art residency? Basically, art residencies give artists an opportunity to leave their everyday life, go someplace else for a extended period of time and just work on their stuff. So all of us, we have been waking up, we get our breakfast, we hike all the different times. It's not like anything we have to do together, but we've all just been putting our head down and just getting work done. So it's been great to meet other artists, to meet locals in the area, and also just be able to get some work done. Pouch Cove, if I can give you a couple of Stephanie 5 facts, because don't quote me, I'm not Anderson Cooper, okay? So don't quote me on this, but just in my research of talking to people around, Pouch Cove is in Newfoundland in Canada, blah, blah, blah. Like I've been saying, I keep saying I'm in Canada. And it was founded, I think, in the 1600s. And it was started by fishermen and carpenters. And it's actually been fun. We went whale watching, and there were some guys singing some fisherman songs, and James has sung some fisherman songs. And that's been really cool to hear. Yeah, I hope I get to introduce you all to James throughout this season. He's such an interesting guy. But yeah, so it was officially established in 1970. James, who runs this residency and who has a gallery here, he founded it in 1990. So it's just been on and popping up here, y'all. It's beautiful up here. It's super picturesque. The houses around here are a mix of these fun colors, navies and cool grays, but there's also some purple houses and turquoise houses, and I love colors, so all the colors make me happy. And actually, across the street is the Atlantic Ocean. You can't beat it. And I saw icebergs and whales, and you know what, y'all? I used to dream of having a home, a lakefront property. But y'all, seeing folks that have oceanfront property, I've had to update my goals, y'all. I want oceanfront property. Okay, so please, as you all have your prayer list, as you pray, please add my oceanfront property to your prayer list, because what a dream. What a dream. I haven't seen any boats over here, but I think the waves are way too crazy. And then Pouch Cove, there is legit a cove. So there's just rocks everywhere. It's just boats ain't trying to do all that over here. And it's just so narrow. But maybe I'll add some photos to my Instagram. I've been posting a little bit in my Instagram stories and whatnot. But yeah, it's super. So what have I been up to while I've been here? So I've been waking up, I eat, make work, eat, watch TV, make work, go to sleep. I've been doing a lot of professional calls, professional development, some seminars. I've applied for grants while I'm up here. It's just been nice because it's I don't have anything else to do. There's no partner, there's no kids, there's nobody up here except for me and these other artists just focused on getting stuff done. And that's been really wonderful, because sometimes when I'm in my own studio back in Chicago, I'm like, should I go to bed now? But I'll see the lights of my studio mates, of residency mates, I guess, their lights on. And I'm like, no, let's keep going. But then we could sleep in the next day. We don't have to be anywhere. So that's been really, really nice. And, I want to actually take it back to the beginning of season 3. It's the pandemic and I'm totally burned out. And I feel like I'm still in that a little bit. Thankfully, I'm slowly but surely coming out of this whole burnout. I've been trying to stay connected by participating in art. I'm working on my podcast, me being here at this residency. Before I traveled to Canada, I went to New York and checked out the Brooklyn Museum, just trying to engage in a bunch of stuff. There is a ton of art here, obviously, because there's a gallery on the premises. So there's tons of artwork to look at here. But it's really been a slow process just trying to get back. And I've had to decide, like, listen, there is no getting back. There is just a new normal. And how I currently work is just how I am going to be working for now. And as I continue to work and refine that process, it's like before I was go, go, go. I always had projects, always had shows, always going somewhere. And it just hasn't been like that. Like, oh, it's just been so wild. But, traveling has been helpful. Going to the museums has been helpful. And it's been a slow process, but I've just decided that instead of going back to how it used to be, I've just evolved to how to adapt to how I am post pandemic, like being more responsive to my body, honoring rest within myself, and then just hanging around the art world versus like just like diving head deep into it, just taking my time and doing everything with ease. So, all that to say is that at this residency, I've been working mostly on assets because, like I said, I haven't felt like that creative to actually make. But like any business, it's so important to have like your website up to date. Artists, we have artist statements, getting that together. This podcast, and I made a whole new website for Nosey AF. It has its own home now. Before it shared a space with my art website. So I gave it its own home. So you should check that out when you get a chance. And then, of course, I've been working on this podcast. And I've also been working on grills. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but I really want a hobby. And so I thought that learning to make grills could be that hobby. If it turns into a business, fine, but I'm not putting any pressure on myself. A long time ago, I saw a Breakfast Club interview with G Herbo, and like the side of his mouth was just blinging. And I'm like, you know what? That looks really fresh. I want a grill. And then I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I could learn to make grills. So I could talk about that another time, but I was really getting into learning that process while I was up there. I have all of the tools to do it. Well, all the tools to get me up to a certain point anyway, with like the wax process. And so that's been a lot of fun playing with that. Like some people knit, I make grills. So here we go. This season 4, I'm going to be calling Conversations on the Rock because that's what they call Pouch Cove. They call it the Rock. And since I'm here, I want to be a local, like I am a Pouch Covian, a Newfoundlander, I don't know what let me just stop right there. But I want to be a part of the locals. So this season, the On the Rock conversations are with wonderful artists whose work I enjoy. Some of my residency mates are going to be on the podcast, and I just want to embrace art and embrace creativity. Like I'm getting back to feeling really creative and getting some ideas of things to do. Yeah, I'm just excited. The art world is a wonderful place, and I want you all to be a part of it if you are not. I have a bunch of artists that do listen to this podcast, and so that makes me very happy. But for the few of you that aren't artists, I want you to come into the art world by just being a appreciator, a collector, an enthusiast, all of those things. So I'm super happy that you are a part of this podcast. I'm so happy that you listen to the podcast, and welcome back to season 4. You are returning, and welcome to the Nosey AF podcast family if you are listening now, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for tuning into the Nosey AF podcast with me, your host, your friend, Stephanie Graham. I'm so glad that you made it to the end of this conversation. Please kindly let me know what you thought by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you're listening right now. You can also connect with me at noseyaf.com via the Say Hello button. And if you're curious about what's going on in my art and film life, please visit my website at missgraham.com. Oh, and also, if there is someone that you're nosy about and you want me to have them on the show, please send suggestions via the same hello button and I will check them out. Until next time, thank you so much for being you, and see you soon. Peace.